Hey, what's up, guys? In this video, we'll see how to implement the OAuth 2 authorization method in your Angular 2 applications. So basically, we saw authentication previously in a video, right? We used JSON Web Token and we performed a token-based authentication system for our applications. In this video, we'll see authorization. Authentication and authorization are totally different concepts, guys. Authorization is nothing but preventing restricting access to a user to specific areas of our from accessing specific areas of our application, or providing permission for the user to access certain areas of our application. That's authorization. So the user would be obviously user can be both an authenticated or a non-authenticated user. A non-authenticated user, in the case, he would just be able to view the about us, contact us, and other pages, whereas the authenticated user will be able to view all the pages that are specific to the logged in users, right? So that's basically the concept of authorization, and we are going to use the popular method of authorization. OAuth 2 is used by many companies like Twitter, Facebook, Google, Reddit, and basically, yeah, many other companies, guys. It's a popular method. So let's see how to create our own Node.js server, and then make use of certain modules, and then build up a OAuth 2 authorization system for our routes that we create using Express. So let's get started, guys. First, I'll clone my previous authentication repo from here, and then we'll continue from that. So let's get I'll time lapse certain parts of the video, and then explain spend more time on explaining what's happening, guys, because this is more like concept based, and then the code you would easily understand, since the code is much simpler than the concept. So if you have not seen my previous animation video, kindly I would recommend you to see it once, because I have given a rough overview of how our application would look. Also, this application is heavily inspired or almost similar to Scott K. Smith's blog, guys. Scott K. Smith's blog is the first result that comes up whenever you search for see this one, right? This this video is heavily inspired on this guy's tutorial, but here he has used basic authentication, and we'll be using JWT based authentication for that. And also we'll be using a JWT based BRS strategy. We'll get into that, guys, now, rather than talking about it. So okay, let's just this is done, right? We'll see into that and open this up in our code editor. Okay, so first of all, let's just do some basic or reorganizing, guys. We'll create a new file called auth.js here, and then inside this, what we'll do is open this up, copy this, and paste it. Okay, this is done. Now what we can remove this, right? We'll delete this, move to trash, and then what else we need to do? We need to go here, I guess, server.js, and then remove this. Okay, now if you notice, in the roots we have just roots for authenticate, add user, and get info, right? Get info is for getting the information about the users that are currently in our database. So to show you an example of authorization, I'll just create two more functionalities in this application. We'll basically, what we'll do is we'll create a system in which we can add a book to a locker, and then see what are all the books inside the locker. We'll just do this too. It's a very simple CRUD thing, right? So first of all, let's create a model. This will be book.js. Okay, I'll just go ahead and time lapse this, guys, so that this video will be much shorter. Okay, this is done. Now we'll make use of this in our actions.js. Add two more functions like this. So just give a comma here, comma here, and then add okay, this is done. Now we have added add book and get books, two new functions that will enable us to perform these actions, guys. So now what we are going to do next. So as per, if you remember the animation video, wait just a minute. Okay, so now what we are going to do, now if you remember my animation video, guys, you will, okay, let's leave the animation video, leave that. Let's take Twitter as an example. So if you want to develop an application for Twitter and make use of the REST APIs that Twitter provides, so here are the REST APIs, right? Developer Twitter, okay, and dev.twitter.com. if you go, these are all the REST APIs that Twitter provides, right? So to access these APIs, what they will ask you to do is, first they will tell you to go to developer.twitter.com and then register your application there. So once you are successfully registered, they will give you an app ID and a secret or something like that. And not just Twitter, guys, all the applications that are using the OAuth 2 mechanism for authorization have these common steps. So they will give you an app ID and a secret. Then using that app ID and the secret, you will be sending a request. So they will get that request, see if that app ID really exists on their system, and then give you back a code or a token, and you will exchange it for an access token. The access token is the one which will be using to make authorized requests to the REST APIs in order to access the resources. This is how OAuth 2 basically works. These are the common steps for OAuth 2 across all systems that are using the OAuth 2 authorization method, guys. So let's do that in our system as well. Since we are writing the backend right now, let's do that in our system as well. So what we'll do is, first of all, we'll create, to add a client, we'll just create a model for the client.js, right? Okay. So once again, just to make this video shorter, time lapse. Okay, this is done. Now to add a client and to see what are all the clients that are available in our database, we'll add few more methods here. We'll create an exclusive file for the client.js, and inside this file we'll add the methods time-lapse. Okay, this is done as well. The reason why I'm just time lapsing this is that this you could easily understand, guys. It's nothing but I'm saving a client and then writing a get method to see those clients. That's all. So what's the point of explaining this over and over again? So that's why I just okay, let's move on. Now the next thing we need to do is write routes for this, obviously. So we'll just go here. Before we writing routes, I'll just go to auth.js and then remove it like this. Instead of it being like this, I'll have it individually. Module, it's not module, exports dot is authenticated equal to passport dot authenticate JWT comma session false. Okay, if I write it like this, then this is authenticated variable. I can use it anywhere inside the app to see if the user is authenticated or not. That's the purpose of doing this, guys. So let's go to routes, and then we need to write a route here, right? For router dot route client. Okay, client, and then this on post will be okay, I didn't import auth where auth equal to require dot slash model, not model, methods auth dot is authenticated comma what was that, client, right? Client also identity. Okay, client dot post clients, and the same thing for get request L2 as well, but this time it will be client dot get clients. Okay, I have created two routes for accessing, saving a client and then getting the clients in our application. So the next thing we'll do is we'll go ahead and we need a model for a code. That code will be exchanged for an access token, right? So we need I'll go ahead and create the models for those two. First of all, I'll just code.js and token.js. Okay. Okay, the code for the model for code and token is now available. Now we'll make use of this in our application. Before making use of this in our application, there are few things you need to get installed, guys. One is the npm install OAuth 2 Orize. Okay, this is the one which we'll actually be using for the token creation process, the code creation process. You will understand it as and when we code it, guys, so no issues there. Okay, this is done. Then we'll be using a JWT bearer strategy, right? So for that we'll be using npm install passport. I forgot. Okay, Google JWT bearer. HTTP JWT bearer. Passport. Sorry. and then we'll also be using basic strategy. So npm install passport http. Okay, let this get installed. OAuth 2 will work only if there is support for sessions, guys. So we'll make use of express session module. So I'll install that too. Now what we'll do is we'll go here, modify this to include all those strategies as well. So let's open. Okay, it's already opened. Okay, we didn't import all those, right? Okay, this is done as well, guys. So now what we'll do is we'll go ahead and write the main OAuth 2 code. Okay, since this is it's very long, I'll just I have the code here which I worked out. I'll just copy and paste this. Okay, it's done. So okay, so now that we have the code and we have almost satisfied all the, okay, let's go ahead and then create the roots. In this case we can find out if we had left out anything, right? So first of all, what are all the roots we need to create? First we have roots for client, and then if the user tries to send the client app ID and the secret and tries to get a code, then there should be a provision for that, right? So we'll just write router.root /OAuth 2/authorize, and this get request will first get request not OAuth 2.authorization. Oh, okay. Authorization, not post will be OAuth 2.decision. Okay, then if he wants to take that code and exchange it with for an access token, there should be provision for that. So OAuth 2/token dot post auth.is client authenticated OAuth 2.token. Okay, all this is done. Now just the roots for adding and get request for the books, right? So post what was that? Add book, and then auth is bearer authenticated. Then if it is authenticated, then obviously it should allow him to add it, right? Actions dot add book. Then one more router dot get. This will be get books, and at the this will once again be auth.eSphere authenticated actions dot get books. Okay, this is very simple routes, guys. And then now we just need to configure our app to use sessions, right? So we'll go here and then auth is not needed, right? Session equal to require express session. Okay, and then EJS equal to require EJS we will be using, guys. This is basically for providing a template. You will see why first I install that. Install EJS. To be honest, I don't know much about these templating engines, guys. EJS handlebars and what else, Jade is there. I don't use much of those. I just used HTML and CSS, and then I'm just content with that. But many of them have highly recommended it to me to get a look at it, and then it will be highly helpful for front-end design and all that. I have to look at it when I get some time. This AJS frame, basically I took the code from Scott K. Smith's blog, that part of this. Okay, let's just proceed on with that rather than me talking. App.use session, and this will be, I'll specify some options. Secret will be super secret. Save this. Okay, this is done. Okay, so now now our app is ready, and consider that this app is running. Okay, so first of all, what the user will do, he will try to add a client. So he will send a post request to the client one, and he'll also send in the parameters. So first it will check whether it is authenticated. Obviously we use the JWT for authentication, and it will check whether it's authenticated. If it's authenticated, then the user can add a client. Then he'll get a app ID and a secret ID. So what he'll do is he'll take those two and then try to send a request back to our backend to get the code for that. So he'll just to access the REST APIs, obviously to access our resources. So he'll basically send the request to this URL. It will be a get request. So the user would obviously, if he had a app ID and a secret ID, he would be logged in, right? So from there we'll tell him to, we'll invoke this OAuth2.authorization method. Let's go here. OAuth2.authorization, what it does is, where is it? It just checks up in the client DB and sees if there is a client with the actual client ID. If there is a client, if this is satisfied, then what it would do is it would redirect the user to a template. It will ask for his permission to whether to allow access for allow the client or the app which he has registered to access the REST APIs. So basically you would have seen that, right? Twitter see, it's like this, right? An application. Similarly, we should also show something for our this thing, right? For our OAuth method, right? So to do that, what we will do is we'll go ahead and create a directory called views, and inside this we'll create a file called dialog.ejs. Okay, EJS, once again I am saying, guys, this code I just took it off from Scott K. Smith. Thanks, Smith. If you're seeing this, thanks, Scott. So I'm not that good with these templating frameworks, that's why I couldn't explain this in it. It's pretty much self-explanatory, guys, that's what I'm trying to say. And then we need to set this up here, right, in order for our app to use. So app.set view engine would be EJS. Okay, EJS. This is done. Now the next thing what will where was I just left it off somewhere here, right? It will show this dialog. Once this dialog is rendered, the dialog will have an option for allow and deny. It will ask this where is requesting full access to your account and allow. Once you click on allow, it will post to OAuth authorize and the thing will be post, right? So if you look here, the post will invoke the OAuth2.decision. OAuth2.decision, if you see, it will call the server.decision. Server.decision basically will invoke the server.grant. Grant is the one which creates the code. If you see, it is the one which creates the code, saves the code, and then returns the code value to the user. So the user will take that code, and what he will do is he will once again use his client ID, I mean the app ID and the secret, and he will send in the code in his next request to this as a post request to this token. So upon receiving this, what this will do is it will call the auth.isClient authenticated, and obviously the isClient authenticated will be using the basic strategy. So basic strategy will see whether the client database has the client schema has a client registered in that particular name, and the secret is equal to the password. If they both is true, then it will return the client, and what will happen next is this OAuth2.token will get invoked. So OAuth2.token is nothing but it will invoke the server.token. Server.token will invoke the server.exchange. I'm just confusing it, right? I'm just going inside Inception. It's like Inception for you guys. You will understand the flow very easily, guys. Okay, I'll try to be a bit slow. It will invoke the server.exchange, which will then check whether the code is present. The code which we sent is present in the code DB, which it is getting saved here, right? It will be checking whether the code is present there. If the code is present there, what it will do is it will create a new token, save that token, then encode that token using our config.secret into a JSON web token, and then return that token to the user, redirecting him to the redirect URL which we specified. So the user will get a JSON web token as a response. This is the access token which he will be using to make authorized requests to our REST APIs in order to access our resources. So let us say, for example, the user has received that token and he tries to add a book to our application. So this will go ahead and invoke auth.isBearer authenticated. If this is successful, then the actions.addBook will get invoked. So auth.isBearer authenticated is nothing but it uses the JWT bearer strategy, and that strategy, what it does is it first decodes the token using our secret. And then it's checking in the token DB whether that token is found with the ID. If the token is found, then obviously it returns the user and the token. So the next thing, the action start, this will get called. Where is it? Action start add book will get called. And then the user will be the user ID, obviously, and this will get saved to the locker. That is, the user is now able to access our REST API and post a book to our application. This is how the entire OAuth2 flow runs, guys. I think I might have confused you guys. Kindly watch this once again. Watch the explanation once again if you feel confused. Yeah, I can assure you that if you I'll make a video and release within the next 2 days about the front-end application as well, guys. I'll build a front-end application in Angular 2 in order to consume these REST APIs, and then show you exactly how the OAuth2 is done. You will understand the flow much better, much better after watching that video. Kindly wait for 1 or 2 days. I'll just release that. So OAuth2 is pretty much, you might find it confusing, but it's pretty much easy, guys, once you understand it. It took me, if you can't understand it on the first try, don't worry, kindly just go through the code once again and again, and you will get it. It took me completely 6 days, entire week to figure this out. That's why I didn't post any videos last week. I was busy working with this. So yeah, guys, that's what I wanted to show you guys today. This is the you might wonder why I didn't run this and use Postman. If trust me, if I use Postman and try to show it to you guys, you'll get more confused, like I was stuck there only. Okay, so this is what I wanted to show you guys today. This is how you build a REST API backend using OAuth2 framework. So if you like this video, kindly hit the likes button, guys, and if you found this video helpful, kindly share it with someone else and help them too. If you really loved this video and then you think it taught you something or reduce your time, or you like something like that, kindly visit my Patreon link and become my patron. So yeah, guys, I'll be releasing the front-end application for this OAuth 2 in a couple of days. I'll talk to you guys in that video. Bye.